Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah.
A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Honest J. Nowak, yet again. And now what I'm going to do today is, well, quite honestly, I'll talk a little bit more about some new subjects of mine, because, well, the Vlogathon 4.0 is around at this point in time. And I'd pretty much just like to highlight at this point that there's certainly a lot that I've already talked about here, and I'm still sitting at the same exact spot. And it's simply because, well, first of all, I don't know if you can hear, but I do have a space heater primed and ready to do anything here. Especially to keep this warm and toasty. But this room pretty much could be predictable in any way. So I'm just going to get going here. Hard to reach spots. Okay, well, anyways. Okay, I'm excited about this next one. Number 568. Water parks. Oh yeah, this one I can really get into anytime because as a child growing up during the 90s and 2000s, of course, this was a really, really big thing going on. But it has been around for a long time. Water parks are certainly one of a kind that you could probably get into at any point in time. There's a lot of places that I've actually been to as well. There's Hurricane Harbor at Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois. And then, of course, in Orlando, Florida, we have a few Walt Disney World style water parks out there. Typhoon Lagoon, and Blizzard Beach. And there also have been others along the way as well that I've also gotten into. The very obvious Kalahari Resorts, Wisconsin Dells, Mount Olympus, Noah's Ark, and some others here and there. Wisconsin Dells was like the big spot, basically harboring as many big water parks out there that you could possibly get into. And the Dells on its own is still one of the best places I might have ever been to here in the state. But of course, there are going to be some others here and there that I might want to get into as time goes on. But anyways, water parks in general, they're just chock full of different attractions and slides and colorful graphics and decals. And not to mention the many, many outgoers out there who love to enjoy the outdoors, very much so. Even to this day, we still do get a lot of reasons to go out at some point in time. But here, in times like this, in December, well, most water parks will not be open, obviously. And it's most likely due to the cold, possibly freezing the water and causing it to be useless for the slides. Although, who wouldn't mind an ice slide? Well, not many people really, because ice can make everything really slippery. As a result, it could mean injury or death if you aren't careful, but nevertheless, it probably seems like a good idea on paper for the most part. But for it to be a reality, we would have to do some tweaking and plenty of trial and error at this point, just to see if it does work in the real world. But of course, we can't forget that when the winter does come, when the cold does start to set in, there are the indoor water parks. There's places like Pirates Cove, the indoor sections to most Mount Olympus parks, and so on and so forth. But my favorite out of all of them would probably be Chula Vista. And Chula Vista, of course, is a big indoor water park. Probably one of the biggest I might have ever seen. But I do have yet to travel in a lot of places around the country or around the world just to find specifically what the largest indoor water park is. But no matter the case, an indoor water park certainly does have a lot to do with keeping visitors from possibly freezing or maybe getting too hot. And so, that's pretty much one way to get yourselves some extra money. To have an indoor segment that could run all day, every day, probably for life, until it does break down. So, again, that might be another way to possibly going out of business, but seeing as how things are going on right now with these parks, it's kind of undefinable for me. I just can't really tell for sure what things are like and how things are going to go down, but no matter the case, I guess I can always have good memories in the back of my mind the many times that I've gone to these places over the last 20 years, and the next 20 years, I suppose, they could be even better. Who knows, really? But until any of that happens, then, well, this is pretty much where I'm at. Hard at work, 24/7, 365, and, well, that's just that. Well, that's pretty much it for today's HJN topic. That was pretty enjoyable, actually, but there's going to be a lot more in the future. So if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.